So there's another one here we'll go ahead and pull up. And I'll go ahead and make this bigger. This map, in case it's kind of hard to kind of tell. So don't look at the gray. The gray that's the land that most people think of.
That's private owned.
That's private owned. All the different colors, that's all federal lands of various types. You got Bureau of Land Management, which is huge. Fish and Wildlife Service, National Forest Service, National Park Services, Bureau of Indian Affairs, Bureau of Reclamation, Department of Defense, and the Tennessee Valley Authority. That's a lot of land. Who gets that? So
that brings up the second big one here that I put on my bullet points is federal lands. How do those get divvied up?
Right. I mean, how do you split it up? There's a lot of resources and stuff in there. How does that? It's there again. That's a huge question in and of itself.
I think that one would be easier to manage than the military aspect of it, just because geographically, I mean, obviously it'd go away from national into the new territory. I think. I mean, that'd be easier to me. Of course, I'm going to miss the Grand Canyon.
Well, and there will be some of that.
I'm right now, Yellowstone.
Yeah, right now we're used to, we've been spoiled in this country. We live in Ohio. Okay, I've been to every state in the United States. We can just get in your car. I mean, we could like wrap up our show right now, go hop in the car, drive for, well, a long time, and go visit the Grand Canyon. Okay, that's a freedom that we have in our country that we've had. In Europe, under the European Union, you can kind of do that now too. But there's still some places that you still have to stop and show your papers. Yeah. But prior to the European Union, about every 50 miles you would run into another country. And if you didn't have the appropriate reason and permissions, you weren't allowed to cross that border.
Yep.
And so say you wanted to, let's say every state divides up again. We would have to have special permissions and passports to go through 6 or 7 different states just to go look at the Grand Canyon. So,
and it's not too far of a stretch that some of these states that hate each other or territories that hate each other,
they'll shut that border.
Ask how it went for the West Germans trying to migrate to the East Germans. How'd that work out?
Not too well.
Yeah.
I mean, for some of our younger viewers, maybe you don't remember this. You probably just heard about it and old people talk about it. There was a thing called the Berlin Wall. You were not allowed to cross that. And people died trying.
Yeah, you risked being shot. So our next one real quick here, vote block showing state results as of 2020, correct?
Yes, this was the 2020 election. I'll go ahead and just pull it up like this. This shows the overall division of how the states voted. So this is the electoral vote map. And you can see it's a nice, you got these nice little blue states and red states. And if you notice some of those earlier, maps of how the national divorce would occur,
it kind of go along those lines.
It kind of goes along those lines, and so it looks like it could be nice and neat. But there's one major problem with that.
What is it, Craig?
Well, we have listed here. I just love the phrase we have here. What if you're trapped in a leftist hellhole? Well, here's how that happens. And quite honestly, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here big. Because this is the map that people think of. So they think of, Ohio, okay, we voted red. And, so Illinois voted blue.
Rough numbers, no matter, if you did a state breakup like this, you are pissing off 50% of every state. Of every state, there's going to be almost a half of them that are not happy that they're in the state they are because they are now either a red state or a red territory or a blue territory. And they're going to want the hell out of there because they know what's going to happen. Their ability to sway elections is gone.
Yep.
So
and look at this. This is the part I really want to watch. Look what happens when you subdivide the voting results down to the county level.
Oh, yeah. Oh! You seen this before?
Yep, I've seen this before, and it never ceases to amaze me. The reality is most of the entire country,
geographically, by land,
by land mass, and by where people live, and by population density in most of that land mass, votes red. Mm-hmm. They're conservative. The problem is, or the difference is, you have these mega population centers, these cities, And the sheer volume of people that live in those small little tiny geographic areas give them a huge voting block.
Some people might call this a clue of what this isn't necessarily red states versus blue states, but it's
urban versus rural.
there. It is. There it is. So
Yep.
if you go back, can you go back one map?
Yep.
So the fact that let's pick a state here. The fact that Utah is red in this, and I don't have the stats in front of me, they may have won the governorship on a 50.2% to 49.8% margin, like a sliver.
Oh yeah, it could
Like
very
a sliver.
Yep.
So just by looking at the states as a whole is not a real good indication of how much of that state is really red or how much of that state is really blue.
Right.
Pull up the next one again. I want you to look at California.
And let me
Yeah,
pull this
blow it up here. So geographically, I think it's probably a fair assessment that it's a 50-50 split as far as geographic red.
Yes.
But it consistently votes on state politics. Governorship is consistently a 70%, 30%.
Yep. And actually,
because of the metro areas.
yes. And actually, if you subdivide it even further, because this is a split down just by the county level, some of those counties in California are massive. If you actually subdivide it even further to a local municipality block,
shrinks.
the blue shrinks even more.
Yep.
And it's already bad. Look at Ohio. Ohio, okay, we're a red state. And that it saddens me every year. We're turning more and more purple, but it's just look at those blue dots. Those are all the major cities.
Dictating how we live
Yes.
out in the sticks.
Yep.
So it's amazing to me that we even teeter on red, having three major, top 50 population
yes.
centers in America. We have three of them in our state, and we still somehow are able to
Yep.
make it a battle
Yes.
every year. So,
Yeah,
all right. So that's something to think about. It's, in my opinion, it's more likely that state lines will not be taken into effect if we get down to the nitty gritty.
Right.
It's going to be more of a not really city states, but city-state kind of molded into geographic areas where blue is dominant. It's
Yes.
not gonna necessarily follow state lines. In my opinion,
It's not gonna. It's going to be these weird little blobby shapes that is going to. Well, here's the reality: more Trump voters actually live in blue states than in red ones.
Yeah.
Because it's by population density. So some of these states that vote blue, they voted blue because the population density of those cities is more, it's more blue.
Yep.
But the slightly less percentage of that population that is still red makes up a huge percentage of the actual red voting block.
That's true.
So
that
that's,
goes back to that question: what the heck do I do if I get stuck in a libtard hellhole?
Yep. I mean,
So my suggestion is, and I don't know how possible this is that there's a trading post, a national trading post. You put you get your property assessed by an assessor. It's worth $350,000.
so you swap with someone
yes,
of equal.
yes.
Okay, I could
And
actually see something
have
like
a
that.
database like that where it happens. It's equal for equal based on how much a dollar's worth in Ohio. Let's say I wanted to move to Texas. What's in Ohio my house worth, and what would that be worth in Texas? Because there are some differences in cost of living.
Yep.
And have that swap, have the ability. It'd be like you youngins that are doing the Tinder swipe left, swipe right. You make a match.
Yeah.
And a month later you guys swap states. My thing on that is, even if that was something that was up there, I believe that the blue states are not going to be interested in letting you leave. They're going to do what they can to make your life hell and keep you there right where you're at.
Well, and that's already happening.
They'll conveniently find a little glitch in the system that, sorry, Craig, you can't go this month. Maybe next month.
Maybe next month.
Just keep trying. We're going to try to get you down there.
Yeah, we're rooting for
until
you.
you just give up.
Yeah, because, I mean, well, in our last episode, we talked about migration that's already occurring. And a lot of this migration where people were leaving these blue states and going to red states is causing a financial problem for these blue states. Because a lot of these people that are leaving, let's be honest, they're the productive people that are earning a fair amount of money, and it's not just income, it's the brain power. A lot of these blue states, they have a real problem on their hands. I hope you've enjoyed this clip from the Craig's Gun Channel Random Shots program. The program airs Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. On Random Shots, we discuss content from ranging anything from preparedness, survival, politics, firearms, basically anything that's 2A related, with sometimes some rabbit trails and things that aren't related at all. If you enjoy this type of programming, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're notified when we release new content. And if you like it, hit the like button and share us if you would as well. It helps the algorithm and helps the channel grow and helps get our message out. So I guess until next time, stay safe.